The roar of the engines, the blinding speed, that heart-stopping drama of overtakes Formula One. It's a world unlike any other, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And now, that high-octane spectacle has actually hit the big screen with F1 the movie starring Brad Pitt.
Exactly. And that's what we're digging into for this deep dive. How did they manage to bring that whole F1 universe onto film?
Right. Our mission really is to unpack that. How they translate it, what the reactions are, from the diehard F1 fans and the general audience.
And maybe, crucially, what does a big movie like this mean for the sport itself?
That's a big part of it, too.
We've got a fantastic stack of sources lined up as well, everything from official F1 reports on casting and production.
To critical reviews.
And yeah, even those really unfiltered fan reactions you find on forums online.
Which are always revealing. It's quite a mix, and it really sets up this interesting tension, doesn't it?
What kind of tension? Well, can Hollywood truly capture that visceral, high-stakes reality of Formula One? And what happens when that Hollywood magic kind of clashes with what the diehard fans want, that absolute authenticity?
That's the perfect place to start, because the visual side of things, it's pretty remarkable how they approached it. Is that Joseph Kosinski, the director? He did Top Gun, Maverick, right?
Right, yeah.
So he teamed up with the cinematographer Claudio Miranda, and the consensus is they created this gleaming, rip-roaring spectacle, just high-speed splendor.
So the goal was that immersive feeling, like you're in the driver's seat.
Exactly. That eye of the driver perspective, really getting that sensation of speed across.
And the tech they used to get that. That's where it gets fascinating from what I read.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking groundbreaking camera technology here. They developed these bespoke cameras.
Bespoke, so custom made.
Yeah, totally custom, incredibly small, really light. They actually separated the camera body from the sensor.
Okay, why do that?
Well, it drastically reduced the camera's footprint, made it tiny, which meant they could mount up to 7 cameras around the cockpit of one car.
7 cameras.
Yeah.
In that tiny space.
7. That's a huge technical challenge they overcame. It lets you get shots that were just impossible before.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But how do you control 7 tiny cameras during, a high-speed chase?
Well, that's the next clever bit. They pioneered the system for real-time control of panning and focusing.
Real-time control?
Yeah, all done wirelessly. They had this extensive RF network radio frequency built around the tracks. Kosinski himself said it was the next generation from what we did on Top Gun, Maverick.
So a step up even from Maverick.
Definitely. And this wireless control was apparently amazing for those overtaking scenes. You could pan smoothly from Pitt's cockpit to the car next to him, right in the heat of the moment.
That sounds incredible. So not just slapping GoPros on cars, then?
Not even close. It was way more sophisticated.
But it wasn't just about the cameras, was it? The access they got seems pretty wild, too.
Totally. The film secured unprecedented access. They were filming on real F1 tracks during actual race weekends.
During race weekend?
I know. Throughout 2023 and 2024. Think about it. Places like Silverstone, Las Vegas, Mexico City, Zandvoort, Monza in Italy, Spa in Belgium, Suzuka in Japan, Hungary, Yas Marina.
All while the real F1 circus was in town? That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
Oh, completely. But imagine the payoff for authenticity.
Huge payoff.
And they even wove in real F1 onboard footage. There's a clip from Pierre Gasly's Alpine at the Belgian Grand Prix in 2023, used for a scene going through Eau Rouge.
Ah, the iconic Eau Rouge. Nice touch.
And this commitment to realism, it went right down to the actors. Brad Pitt and Damson Idris, they did 3 months of pretty intense training.
3 months? What kind of training?
Started in Formula 3 cars, then moved up to Formula 2. And they actually filmed scenes driving on track in modified F2 cars.
Modified F2 cars. So not quite F1, but still.
Still incredibly fast and demanding. Brad Pitt reportedly hit speeds up to 180 mph.
Driving an F2 car at 180? That's serious commitment from an actor.
It really is. It adds a layer of credibility, doesn't it?
Definitely. And speaking of credibility, Lewis Hamilton's involvement seems key here.
Absolutely pivotal. 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. He wasn't just a name slapped on as a producer. He was a hands-on consultant.
What did that involve? Ensuring the authenticity.
Exactly that. Making sure the production felt true to the sport. It shows you, even with Hollywood budgets, you need that inside knowledge, the kind only a champion has, to really capture F1's soul.
So he wasn't just a figurehead.
Not at all. Reports say he was directly involved in helping the actors hone their driving skills. He gave critical input on the script, too.
Like checking the technical details.
Down to the details. Apparently going line by line, turn by turn, tire compound by tire compound.
Wow.
And even advising on specific scene locations to make sure everything felt right to someone who actually lives and breathes F1. His knowledge was clearly invaluable.
Okay, so they put in a massive effort on the technical side, the realism, the access. What's the actual story they built around all this?
Right, the plot. It centers on Sonny Hayes, that's Brad Pitt's character. He's a former F1 driver, a phenom back in the day, who crashed out of the sport decades ago.
A comeback story?
Sort of. He gets recruited to return by his old friend and team owner, Ruben Cervantes, played by Javier Bardem, to help this struggling team called APXGP.
Okay, the fictional team.
Yep, APXGP. And Sonny partners up with a talented rookie driver, Joshua Pierce, who's played by Damson Idris.
So the veteran and the rookie dynamic. Classic.
It is, but it allows for some interesting character moments. And the team itself, APXGP, it's populated with some strong supporting characters.
Like who?
Well, there's Carrie Condon as Kate McKenna. She's the team's technical director.
Ah, an important role.
Very. An aerodynamics specialist apparently develops a bit of a romance with Sonny. Critics praised her for her naturalism and how she holds her own in between another pair of headstrong men.
Nice. It's good to see those technical roles highlighted.
Exactly. It's not just the drivers. You mentioned Javier Bardem as Ruben, the owner friend, a former teammate of Sonny's, taking this big risk.
Right, bringing in these two fresh faces.
Then there's the team principal, Kasper Malinsky, played by Kim Bodnia. He apparently used to work for Ferrari and really pushes Sonny.
Add some internal team drama, I bet.
You'd imagine so. And Tobias Menzies plays Peter Banning, a board member who's trying to push Bardem's character to sell the struggling team.
Ah, the business pressure side of F1.
Exactly. And you've got Sarah Niles from Ted Lasso as Joshua Pierce's mother, Bernadette, plus Abdul Salis as Dodge, the chief mechanic, and Callie Cook as Jody, a pit crew mechanic.
So a decent ensemble showing different parts of the team.
Yeah, it helps paint that picture of the whole ecosystem.
What about the setting? You mentioned real tracks, but where does the story start?
Interestingly, it doesn't drop you straight into F1. The film introduces Sonny Hayes at Daytona International Speedway.
Daytona, not an F1 track.
Nope. He's competing in the 24 Hours of Daytona endurance race, driving a Porsche and a BMW in that sequence.
Ah, establishing his driving skills outside F1 first. Clever.
And apparently that opening sequence is a real highlight for many viewers. Some even say it's the best driving sequence in the whole film.
Better than the F1 stuff later. Interesting.
Yeah, it seems to have really landed well.
And what about off-track? Any notable locations?
A few quirky ones, yeah. They use places like Christina's Coin Laundry and Papa's Drive-In, though apparently Papa's sadly burnt down since filming both in New Smyrna Beach, Florida.
Adds a bit of texture.
And for the team headquarters, APXGP, they actually used the real McLaren Technology Center in Woking, England.
Oh, wow, the MTC. That's cool. Adds to the realism.
Definitely. Those little details, mundane or high-tech, they help build the world.
Okay, so world building, amazing visuals, incredible access,
Yeah.
brings us to the big question. How did people actually like the film? Let's start with general audiences.
For the general viewer, the feedback seems largely positive. People found it very entertaining, visually spectacular.
Good popcorn flick, basically.
Seems like it. And it's been noted for actually bringing new fans into F1, which is interesting. Lots of comments calling it a solid 7/10 or just good fun.
Any comparisons?
Yeah, comparisons to Top Gun, Maverick, naturally, given the director and the spectacle, and also Days of Thunder for that kind of blockbuster racing feel.
Okay, so visually it delivers. That Daytona scene gets mentioned a lot as the best driving sequence.
Frequently, yes. That opening really seems to have grabbed people. The on-track action generally gets high praise.
Right, but, and here comes that tension we talked about. What about the die-hard F1 fans? The ones who know every rule, every driver?
Yeah, this is where the reception gets, let's say, a bit more nuanced.
Uh-oh.
While even the hardcore fans tend to praise the visuals, the nitpicks come thick and fast about the story and the realism.
Okay, like what? Story first?
Words like questionable, cliche, terrible, boring, derivative pop up quite a bit in fan forums regarding the plot.
Ouch. So the narrative didn't quite match the visual wow factor for them.
That seems to be the main disconnect for the purists. They loved the action, less so the story holding it together.
And the realism issues. I bet they had a field day.
Oh, you bet. very specific things get called out. Sonny's actions on track, like apparently intentional crashing or driving a car that should be totally wrecked.
Things that would get you instantly penalized or disqualified in real F1.
Exactly. Or not getting banned for stuff he does. Using soft tires, the grippier but less durable ones, outside of the specific rules for qualifying sessions.
Ah, the kind of detail only a real fan would spot.
Precisely. Also, things like car liveries, the paint schemes changing between shots.
A continuity error?
Seems so. Also, a perceived lack of safety car interventions when you'd expect them. Seemingly miraculous technical recoveries from damage.
Stuff that feels a bit too convenient, too Hollywood.
That's the sentiment. Even things like wind tunnel scenes being described as superficial. They picked up on everything.
It sounds like they rated the driving high, but the story low.
That's a common theme. You see comments like, on-track parts 10-10, talkie parts 5-10.
Uh-huh. Okay. That sums it up. Any other common complaints?
One other thing that comes up is maybe an over-reliance on broadcast commentary within the film to explain the drama.
Instead of letting the visuals and sound do the talking?
Yeah, some fans felt it was telling rather than showing, using commentary to narrate excitement instead of letting the roar of the engines and the on-track action speak for itself.
That's a classic filmmaking challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Balancing exposition with immersion.
It really is,
Yeah.
especially with a sport as complex as F1.
So it sounds like the film was maybe specifically designed, as some reviews said, for people who don't follow the sport closely.
That seems fair. Key F1 concepts are apparently explained enough to make it make sense for newcomers.
Which means for the F1 veterans, the message is kind of suspend your disbelief.
Pretty much. You have to accept it's Hollywood magic, not a documentary, if you want to enjoy the ride as a hardcore fan.
It really begs that question, though. Can you ever make a film like this that satisfies both the casual viewer and the super knowledgeable fan equally?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Maybe not completely, not perfectly, but, beyond just the movie itself, there's another interesting takeaway here.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
The film, maybe implicitly, does a good job of showcasing the huge diversity of roles available within F1. It's not just drivers and engineers.
Oh, that's a really vital point, especially for listeners maybe inspired by the movie.
Exactly. Think about it. The film subtly shows you need data analysts crunching numbers for strategy,
Communication specialists managing the team's image.
marketing executives chasing sponsors, hospitality managers looking after VIPs, logistics planners getting all that gear around the world.
It's this massive, complex ecosystem of different talents.
It really is. And
Yeah.
the film touches on inclusivity, too.
How so?
Well, the presence of women in various professional roles within the team, like Carrie Condon's technical director character or Callie Cook as a pit crew mechanic.
So it's not just window dressing.
It feels like an effort to show the industry is becoming more inclusive, that it needs and welcomes a whole spectrum of talents. That's a great message.
Definitely. What about skills? Does the film show what it takes beyond just driving fast?
I think it does, yeah. Even through the fictional drama, you see the importance of things like resilience and adaptability.
How so?
Handling car problems mid-race, dealing with strategic mistakes, overcoming personal setbacks. These are universal skills you see play out. They're crucial in motorsport, whether you're driving or managing logistics.
That's really relevant. So the takeaway for someone watching, maybe some of you listening right now, is what?
It's that your unique talents, whatever they are, whatever your background is, could potentially find a really vital place within the F1 industry.
If the film sparks that interest,
Exactly. Remember that the world of Formula One is this huge, intricate machine built by countless different experts, different passions. It's so much more than just the Sunday race.
so summing up then, F1 the movie delivers this visually stunning ride, no doubt. Groundbreaking cameras, amazing access to the real F1 world.
Absolutely. But it also ignites that debate among the fans about realism versus story, highlighting that classic tension between Hollywood spectacle and sporting authenticity.
Which leads to maybe a final thought to chew on.
Go for it.
How do these big Hollywood blockbusters like F1 the movie, even with their dramatic license, act as these powerful cultural forces?
Interesting angle.
They don't just pull new fans into potentially niche sports,
Yeah.
right? They also kind of shape how we perceive these high-stakes industries.
Mm-hmm.
And they shine a light, maybe indirectly, on all the hidden talents, the huge range of skills needed to make them work.
That's true. They can make the invisible visible in a way.
Right. So the provocative thought is, what lasting impact will this movie have? Not just on F1's popularity, but on the types of people it attracts, the future talent it might inspire, and how we understand these incredibly complex, high-pressure worlds. What new passions might it ignite?